Ethan Cole never expected first contact to happen on a broken mining station orbiting a dying star. To be fair, he hadn't expected much of anything anymore. Outpost K-47 was the kind of place the United Terran Authority forgot existed. Too far from the core worlds, too poor in resources to matter, and too dangerous to attract settlers. The station had once been a bustling extraction hub, chewing through asteroid belts rich in exotic metals. Now, it was a hollow skeleton of flickering lights, creaking bulkheads, and lonely corridors that whispered like ghosts. Ethan liked it that way. No noise. No people. No reminders. He worked alone, maintaining automated drills that no longer drilled, fixing systems that barely functioned, and sending reports that no one read. His only companions were the hum of failing generators and the distant, haunting glow of the red dwarf star bleeding its last light into the void. On the night everything changed, Ethan did what he always did. He checked the oxygen scrubbers, tightened a few failing bolts, and sat down in his quarters with a half-heated ration pack. "Another exciting day in paradise," he muttered, staring at the dull metal walls. The comms console crackled faintly, as if trying to say something. It had been doing that for weeks now, static bursts, half-formed signals, nothing coherent. Ethan had logged it, of course. No response. He finished his meal, leaned back in his chair, and let exhaustion take over. And then he slept. Ethan woke up to pressure on his chest. Not pain, just weight. Warm. Alive. His eyes snapped open. For a moment, his brain refused to process what he was seeing. A figure straddled him. Not human. Not even close. Her skin shimmered like polished obsidian, faintly iridescent under the dim emergency lights. Patterns, no, living patterns, moved beneath the surface, like galaxies shifting in slow motion. Her eyes glowed softly, a deep violet that seemed to look through him rather than at him. Long, silver-white hair cascaded around her shoulders, floating slightly as if gravity held less authority over it. And she was very much aware of him. They stared at each other. Neither moved. Ethan's heart slammed against his ribs. "Okay," he said slowly, voice dry. "Either I finally lost it, or this is going to be a very complicated report." The alien tilted her head, studying him with intense curiosity. Then she spoke. Her voice wasn't sound, at least not entirely. It echoed directly in his mind, layered and harmonic. "You are awake." Ethan froze. "Yeah," he said after a moment. "That tends to happen when someone breaks into my room and sits on me." She didn't move, didn't react, just continued watching him. "You are not afraid," she said. Ethan blinked. "Oh, I am. I'm just processing it with sarcasm." A pause. Then, unexpectedly, the alien's lips curved slightly. A smile. "Interesting." Her name was Althera. Or, at least, that was the closest translation Ethan could manage. Her true name was something far more complex, layered with meaning beyond human language. She was not just an alien. She was a queen. And not in the ceremonial sense. She was the central consciousness of a vast interstellar species known as the Thrisari, a race of biologically interconnected beings who functioned as both individuals and extensions of a greater whole. She was their anchor, their mind, their ruler. And somehow, she had ended up here, on a dead mining station, sitting on top of a very confused human. "You mind getting off me?" Ethan finally asked. Althera looked down, as if only just realizing their position. Then she shifted gracefully, sliding off him and standing beside the narrow bunk. Ethan sat up slowly, never taking his eyes off her. "Okay," he said. "Let's start simple. You're an alien queen. You broke into my quarters. You scanned my brain or something. And now you're just standing there. A beat. Did I miss anything? You are correct in essence, she replied. Great, Ethan said, because this is already the weirdest day of my life. Over the next hour, Ethan learned more than he ever wanted to know about the universe. Aelthera had been fleeing. Her species, despite their power, had enemies, ancient ones. A rival civilization had developed weapons capable of severing the Thrissary's collective consciousness. Aelthera herself had been targeted. Her ship had been destroyed. She had barely escaped, using experimental technology to shift herself across space. She had arrived here, alone, injured, and dying. Ethan frowned. You don't look like you're dying. I am stabilizing, she said. Because of you. He blinked. Me? Aelthera stepped closer, her glowing eyes locking onto his. Your mind is unique. Ethan let out a small, nervous laugh. Yeah, I've been told that. Usually not as a compliment. You are independent, she continued. Resilient. Your thoughts do not fracture under stress. Your consciousness remains singular. Is that unusual? For your species? No. For one compatible with mine? Extremely. Ethan's stomach dropped slightly. Compatible? Aelthera reached out, her hand hovering just above his chest. He didn't move, didn't pull away. For reasons he couldn't explain, he trusted her. When I arrived, she said softly, I searched for a host. A mind strong enough to anchor me while I healed. Ethan swallowed. And you picked me? Yes. Because I was the only one here? A brief pause. Yes. Ethan snorted. Figures. The connection had already begun. That was the part Aelthera hadn't mentioned immediately. Ethan started noticing it first. At first, it was subtle, like hearing an echo of his own thoughts. Then it became clearer. Not intrusive. Not overwhelming. Just another presence. He could feel her. Not physically. Mentally. Emotionally. It was like having someone sitting beside him at all times. Someone calm, observant, and impossibly ancient. Okay, he said one day, leaning back in his chair. I'm officially talking to you in my head now. That's happening. Yes, Aelthera replied, her voice echoing within him. This is going to take some getting used to. You are adapting quickly. Yeah, well, Ethan said, glancing around the empty station. I've had practice being alone with my thoughts. A pause. Then, you are no longer alone. Ethan didn't respond, but something in his chest tightened. Days turned into weeks. The station didn't feel as empty anymore. Aelthera explored it with quiet curiosity, moving through corridors like a living shadow, her presence transforming the cold metal into something alive. She asked questions. Endless questions. About humanity. About emotions. About individuality. You really don't get it, do you? Ethan said one evening as they sat in the observation deck, watching the dying star flicker. Explain. Being human isn't about being perfect, he said. It's about being separate. Messy. Confused. We don't share a single mind. We argue. We disagree. We screw things up. I do not see the advantage. Ethan smirked. Freedom. Aelthera was silent for a long time. Then freedom to fail? Yeah, Ethan said. And to choose what you do next. She turned to him, her glowing eyes softer than before. Your species is fascinating. Yeah, he said. We tend to be. The bond between them deepened, not just mentally, emotionally. Ethan could feel her curiosity turning into something else, something warmer, more personal. And she, in turn, began to understand him in ways no one ever had. She saw his memories, his regrets, the reason he had chosen this lonely outpost. "You ran," she said gently one night. Ethan stiffened. "I didn't run. You left everything behind." "That's not the same thing." Althera stepped closer. "You fear connection. Loss." Ethan looked away. "Yeah, well, turns out losing people sucks." A pause. "Then, you will not lose me." He laughed softly. "You say that now, but you've got a whole empire out there waiting for you." Althera didn't respond immediately. When she did, her voice was quieter than he had ever heard it. Perhaps. The attack came, without warning. Ethan was in the maintenance bay when the alarms blared to life. "Warning. Unauthorized vessel detected." He froze. "No way," he muttered. "Nobody comes out here." But the sensors didn't lie. A ship, sleek, angular, and unmistakably alien, emerged from the void. Althera appeared beside him instantly, her expression shifting from calm to something far more dangerous. "They have found me." Ethan's pulse spiked. "Your enemies?" "Yes." The station shuddered as energy signatures locked onto it. "Weapons. Big ones." "Okay," Ethan said, grabbing a toolkit that suddenly felt very inadequate. "So, what's the plan?" Althera turned to him, and for the first time he saw fear. "If they capture me, my species will fall." Ethan exhaled slowly. "Then we don't let that happen." The battle was chaos. The enemy ship deployed drones, sleek, lethal constructs that tore through the station's outer defenses like paper. Ethan moved through the corridors with desperate determination, sealing bulkheads, rerouting power, doing anything he could to buy time. Althera fought in ways he couldn't fully comprehend. Energy pulsed from her, bending reality itself, tearing through the invading machines. But she was still weak, still recovering. It wasn't enough. "They're breaching Deck 3. Ethan shouted. "I know. We can't hold them off forever." Althera turned to him, her expression resolute. "There is another option." Ethan didn't like the sound of that. "What kind of option?" She stepped closer, close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her. "A full integration." His stomach dropped. "You mean merging our minds?" "Yes." "And what happens to me?" A pause. "You will change." "That's not reassuring." "But you will live. And together, we will be strong enough to stop them." Ethan hesitated. This was it. No going back. No more isolation. No more being just him. He looked at her. At the alien queen who had turned his empty existence into something meaningful. "Okay," he said. "Let's do it." The moment their minds fully connected, everything changed. Ethan felt it. The vastness of her consciousness. The weight of an entire species. The endless, intricate web of thought that stretched across the stars. And yet, she anchored herself to him. Not overwhelming. Not consuming. Equal. Balanced. Together. Power surged through him. Through them. The station trembled as as they stepped forward to face the invaders. "Let's end this," he said. And his voice carried something far greater than human. The battle ended in silence. The enemy ship retreated, crippled and broken. The station, though damaged, still stood. And in the aftermath, Ethan stood alone in the observation deck. Or rather, not alone. Althera was still there. Within him. Beside him. Always. "We did it," she said softly. Ethan smiled faintly. "Yeah, we did." He looked out at the stars. At the endless possibilities stretching before them. "So," he said, "what now, Your Majesty?" A gentle warmth filled his mind. "Now we build something new." Ethan nodded. For the first time in a long, long while, he wasn't afraid of what came next. Because whatever it was, he wouldn't face it alone.